Personal growth and self-development can lead to long-term success for small business owners. And that's what we're talking about on this episode of SchlickArt TV.
Welcome to SchlickArt TV. We're here with the amazing Jenny Ketchepaw, Vice President of Talent Engagement.
So it's been like 13 years since we've all met, but I remember because I swear we met somewhere. Maybe it was at the mixer.
We've all been, good friends for 12, 13 years. Best friends for since probably the start of Lean In. I think that really brought us a little bit closer, and we've both gotten to know each other. Well, the whole group has gotten to know each other so much better, and then the boys have a Lean In, a Lean Out group as well. So our friendships have definitely blossomed through that.
Tell us what you do. What does talent engagement actually mean?
Talent engagement is all the good stuff. When you think, I always say our tagline in talent engagement is we want associates to feel like they're welcome and that they belong and then they have a career with us. We have 1,100 associates. And so all the good stuff that comes out of your development. So all of our leadership development programming, all of our diversity, engagement, inclusion efforts, our culture, our values, everything that's really about like your growth plan and how you can really connect. Lots of training, lots of learning, lots of development, all of that encompass it as well. But our team is really about creating that culture, creating that space where people feel like this is where I should be.
So how does it work with kind of, I don't want to say dealing with that amount of people? Obviously probably not all in the same location, or maybe they are, I don't know. But how does that work? How does that allow you to make it harder or make it easier? I don't know.
It really comes down to the culture, and we have a philosophy on our team, and we call it R&D, rip off and duplicate. I R&D'd it from my boss, but we say it together, and it's called pump it in the air, right? Be the change you want to see, and it starts to catch on. And so, 60 some odd offices, that can be a real big challenge. But if you model the way and if you do the things and you always show up that way, it starts to catch on. And you have these like ambassadors out there spreading the good word and the good things that you're doing and getting excited about the work.
You obviously have your day-to-day career, but you help so many people in this community as well, with whether it's small businesses, charities, individuals in this community, with their own learning and development, StrengthsFinders. Speak to that a little bit.
Oh my gosh, this is like where my soul is at, right? I feel so lucky to have found StrengthsFinders when I was in my 20s. I took it in 2007. I actually took it as part of being on the VIA board, and it really did change my life. I felt like for the first time, I'm reading this assessment and I felt very seen. And things that perhaps I thought that maybe weren't good or that others may have judged me for in the past, I really felt like something was calling out, this is why you're so good at what you do. But at the end of the day, nobody is as good as you are at what you do. That's pretty powerful. Knowing what you do well and then bringing that value to your team, your organization, your family, that makes a big, long-lasting impact.
My strengths are completely different to Brian's strengths, your strengths, Doug's strengths behind the camera there. We're all very different. And it now, not only do I fully understand why I do certain things, I lean in to those things because they make me a stronger person. They make me a more effective person. Instead of trying to fight against them or trying to change myself and be like, I can't be like that. That's not normal. It's like, no, it is. It's my normal. And we're all individuals. And that's what makes us really, really special. But the second time you did StrengthsFinders with us, you kind of like, I don't know whether to say put Brian and I next to each other or pitted us against each other kind of thing, in a great way to find out what makes us
better over here.
Right? So it was almost like for that second time of doing StrengthsFinders together, it was a little mini marriage counseling session, right? So, tell us about your experience with SchlickArt as far as both times that you've supported our team.
So I want to touch on something you said first, that you really put intention, you really leaned into it, and you have to, right? Our greatest opportunity for success lies within leaning into our strengths. These are all things that come naturally to us. And if we ignore them and always focus on our weaknesses, well, okay, we'll improve a little bit in those areas. But if we really put focus and intention into our superpowers, the areas that come naturally to us, we're off the charts. And that's really what I saw with your team. Your team is small, but incredibly mighty. And how do you come together and complement each other? And seeing the addition of new team members and how that changes the makeup of your team and what each person brings. And I think it's the mutual respect. And we call it like being a strength scout, when you can really say, ooh, Brian, I see you using your harmony. Or, oh my gosh, Lindsay's individualization is like pinging right now. She gets the best gifts for people ever. I mean, let's be honest. And so that's what I saw with you guys. And seeing it time over time, like the first time it's like, okay, I'm getting to know myself, I'm getting to know my team. But man, the second time, and Doug got to experience the second time, which is almost like, what a great way to like come into it, to already see all the work that you've guys done. And Doug like jumped right in and he understood it about himself and he understood about the team. And so I love that it's not a one and done. I love that it continues to evolve because you make it a priority. We're told all the time that we need to fix ourselves or we compare ourselves to a bunch of other people. Like that just happens to be unfortunately the way the world works. But if we stop comparing ourselves to other people, if we stop trying to really fix ourselves, not we can't improve, but we're always focusing on the negative. What if we focus on what's really good about us? And what if we focus on what's really good about the people in our lives?
Yeah, and especially when it comes to like the team, right? Because then you can start bringing in the team members that complement all the things that maybe you don't do so well that they do, and that kind of builds your team even stronger, right?
Doug didn't take the strength test until he was actually part of the SchlickArt team. I think you'd been here like 4 or 5 months by that point when you were taking our StrengthsFinder's assessment with us. But unintentionally, you filled a massive gap in strengths that we had here at SchlickArt, you know. I'm very analytical, I'm very individualism, and I'm very much at the one-on-one with the client. That is my strength, and I can see when a client needs something from me, but then that, you know, I don't have that developer, I don't have that positivity in the same way that Doug has, right? And the same with you, like your researcher brain is, and your harmony. Yeah, that's not my strength. You know, but together, you know, sometimes I want to jump in full force and I'm an activator and I'm ready to go, right? And Brian's like, hang on a minute, you know, I want to do some research over here. And Doug's like, but we love your energy. And so the team and the cycle and the train, or the rocket ship, as I love to quote Rachel Cosgrove, the rocket ship keeps on moving forward. I love it. It's really interesting to watch how the dynamic of businesses have changed over, you know, the course of decades of like, you know, work was almost a little bit of a clinical way of life, so to speak, of you went to work, you did your job, you came home. And now, you know, we spend, what is, I don't even know the statistic, but like over a third of our lives working. For small business owners, it's probably more like half.
Yes.
And, you know, it is personal. You know, anybody who says this isn't personal, it is. It's you know, owning a small business specifically is you chose this for a reason, but it's a way of life. And part of that has to be that you bring some of the personal in with the business, and you also self-develop. You have to self-develop.
You have to keep learning and growing. The number one question I get asked is from a leadership perspective, so small business owner, corporate leadership, any type of leadership perspective, what strengths make you a better leader? And the answer is, it's being your most authentic self. And there's a great book that plays with the strengths assessment. It's called Strength-Based Leadership, but it emulates and it looks like all of these different leaders and how they all have such like huge leaders that you would be like, oh my gosh, that person's amazing. And they all have different strengths. And you don't have to be the most positive person or have the best communication skills. You can be a phenomenal leader as long as you know what you do best and you model that way.
And it's so impressive too, because that's the way we approach things, especially with like video clients, right? Everybody's so freaked out to get in front of the camera to talk about their business and all those kind of things. And that's the first thing we tell them, just be yourself, be authentic. Yeah. If you swear, swear. If you don't, like, whatever your thing is, right?
Don't give me permission.
Yeah. But it is, it's like, if you don't show up authentically, whatever you film on that camera is not going to come out like you. People are going to watch that and go, that's not her, right?
We're always trying to be like something that we're not, and it's just be the best version of yourself. That's what I always tell people, try to be the best version of yourself.
How can somebody that's gone through any of that kind of build up a resilience to keep that kind of high from coming out of those sessions and keep it kind of going beyond that?
I mean, setbacks happen, right? Life happens. So I think there's a couple of things. One, learning to trust yourself. right? Learning to not listen to the noise. Sometimes someone's going to say something negative. There's going to be stuff out there. You need to let them. Also, finding your people, like finding your circle, finding the people that really know you, that want to celebrate your wins, but are also there for you when maybe you're doubting yourself or maybe you've failed in something. When you have that core group, whether it's business professionals, whether it's friends, whether it's a combination, but a group that you can truly, truly trust, that's pretty amazing. And I think that's what really helps people when they're struggling or going through a challenging time, or just need to be reminded that you're on the right track. Like I always tell people too, like in life, in our careers, we're told it's a ladder. It is a lie. It is a freaking jungle gym, right? It is ups and downs and then a diagonal over here, and it's figuring out how to stay that course. And I've really worked on learning to like trust myself and trust who I am and try not to listen to the noise and trust the people that I've surrounded myself.
When we have clients coming in for that strategy session before we create, whatever marketing we're created for them, they come out of that strategy session, we create the video shoots, we create the headshots, we send them on their way with not only a toolbox of imagery, but then a toolbox of how to roll this out consistently. But then the spanner gets into the works, 3 months in, they've done a really, really great job. And then, they get busy with their own clients, yes, or they, they lose a team member, or they, whatever it is, life happens and throws it in that way. And for us, what we've started to do is create quarterly strategic planning meetings with them so that we catch them at that moment of like, where are you at? What do we need to tweak? Do we need to pull back on something and increase something over here, and vice versa? Do you work that way as well with, whether it's your business clients, whether it's your team? Tell me how you keep your team, consistently moving in the right direction.
Yeah. I mean, it's an important leadership philosophy. We have to be proactive rather than reactive. And man, we don't want to invest the time sometimes in ourselves and our teams to be proactive because it takes time. But I always tell people, all that time you spend up front, you're saving so much time on the back end, whether you have someone that's really struggling in their role, or you've missed an opportunity, or whatever it may be. But when we're always reactive and putting out fires, we're not thinking about the future. We're not thinking about what if. We're not thinking about where we're going on our next step. So the more from a leadership perspective we can be more proactive, which means carving out time to think, which for those that have high intellection and those thinking ones, that comes naturally to them. But for some of us who are much more in the moment, it can be more challenging. But carving out that time to think, to strategize, whether it's in the car, whether it's sitting by yourself and meditating, but really putting that proactive leadership ability to do that.
We count ourselves extremely lucky that not only are we, a husband and wife team, which a lot of people are like, how can you work with your spouse? And I'm like, well, it helps the fact that, we're both on this journey together and we both are heading towards the same goal. And, neither one of us is like, one of us is half in it and one of us is 1 foot out of the door. There's no malice in it, right? It's like we both want the same thing from this business, but also our strengths complementing each other and our lesser strengths complementing each other, right? But also, there's a lot of business owners out there, and we see this so many times with our strategic planning and our coaching, that they don't have an accountability partner. They don't have a partner, even if it's not an accountability partner, but a partner on this journey. And they might be married, and don't get me wrong, fully in love with their spouse, but their spouse doesn't do what they do and they don't do what their spouse does. So when it comes to a professional journey, they're literally an island. And quite often they live and die on that vine of I am an island and I can do everything myself, which is so not true. And that's coming from me, Jenny, and I like to do everything myself. And that's something that Lean In has taught me. That's something owning a small business has taught me. That's something that Brian's taught me, is that I don't have to carry all the groceries from the house on my own.
She does.
But a lot of business owners that we see coming in here, and are asking for our help, when it comes to marketing, is because that they are trying to do everything themselves, and the first thing that goes out of the window is one of the most important things, which is the marketing, right? And so we're trying to encourage them that, one, we can be this strategy and, you know, accountability partner for them on a quarterly basis, you know. And I can imagine that you see so often this island of this individual person in your sessions where they're like, I can do this all myself. I don't need your help. I don't need anybody's help. Just speak to that a little bit.
Oh, so delegation is very important. But like one of my core guiding principles is balance, right? And I feel like a lot of business owners, a lot of senior leaders, they forget that balance piece. And actually one of the things I'm hearing more and more as I'm coaching leaders is one of their goals is spend more time with my family, be more present. And it's because we miss that balance sometimes because we're so focused on I can do it all. But just because we can doesn't mean we should. You have to find the time to invest in yourself, whether it's getting to know your strengths, whether it's reading a book on development, whatever it is that matters to you, but you have to take the time to invest in yourself. That's how we grow. That's how we become better. Invest in your team. Our people are our greatest resources, right? They're our most valuable asset. And when we invest in them, they're more engaged. They're more connected to our organization. What I love about when we invest in our people is they give their energy, not just their time. We all give our time. We are all at work for a finite amount of time. But when you have people on your team that give their energy, they're thinking of better ways to support you, better ways to give business, better ways to make the entire organization successful. And then invest in your community. We happen to live in a phenomenal community, and I think that the more that you get out, the more that you connect with nonprofits, the more you give in investing in our community, it one feels like you're making the world that you are raising your families and your businesses in a better place, but it's also just a really great way to connect with other people and to grow your circle.
Yeah, again, it's super crazy how well these parallel with like the marketing world. Like we had no idea what you were going to say to answer that question, but it's so crazy how well those parallel the marketing world, right? Is because like when you're marketing, you have to invest in yourself, right? You have to invest in your team to showcase like what you can do as a company, and then your community, right?
How do I invest in myself in that way?
Probably like StrengthsFinders, because it's a very easy tool to get and to take the assessment. You can do it on your own. You don't need a coach. You don't need someone to like guide you through it. You can just take it and immediately. But also like just writing down goals, right? The whole philosophy of writing down something that you want. It also depends on how disciplined you are. You need someone to like rally around you, but I think it's important to like think about what your goals are personally and professionally. I think it's important to do a little bit for yourself, taking some kind of assessment, whether it's StrengthsFinders or something else, and find a book. And if you're not a reader, find something you're interested in that you want to better in yourself. Read it or listen to it.
Where can people take the StrengthsFinders test?
It's on Gallup.com, GALLUP.com, and anybody can buy it.
Where can people find you? So, you know, people in Santa Clarita, I mean, I'm sure if anybody...
my address?
Everybody's
like,
like...
you can stop by for a glass of wine.
Right.
Just look for the Christmas lights. You'll find it.
Right. Just shout Jenny Ketchepaw in Santa Clarita
I
and
will
somebody's
listen.
going to be like...
It's like a bat signal.
It is, yeah. Or just shout pink, and pink
that's my color.
come running.
Yes.
No, seriously though, if anybody wants to reach out to you, probably through social media at all, or
I mean, I don't even have Instagram, you guys. I feel like this is going to force me to have Instagram. Good old Jenny Ketchepaw at yahoo.com works really, really well.
Beautiful.
Find me through the Schlicks, of course, as well.
Yeah. DM us on this SchlickArt TV, and we will put you in touch with the infamous Jenny Ketchepaw.
I love it. Thank you.
So we just wanted to say thanks for watching, guys, and tune in next month for episode 8 of SchlickArt TV when we'll have some more fun. And thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon, guys.
Yay!
Thank you.
That was so
Thank you.
fun.
That's
I loved it.
You were
Yes.
awesome.